obviously we all have hip bones, right? Every animal has a hip bone. So if you feel along the, you'll see along the back right here. I guess flip it over my back. But you'll see on the back here, you'll see two little tiny bumps. These are called the oysters, and this is about kind of where you'll find the hip bones at. What you'll do is I take whatever side you're doing, I grab the whole leg as close to the chicken as I can, and then I'll put my thumb, usually you'll feel around, but I'll put my thumb right around where the oysters are, those little bumps. And then all you gotta do is I take the full thing. You wanna take the whole thing because you don't wanna break any of the bones in here, because then it will get in the chicken and you can't eat the chicken, because then there'll be bone shards everywhere. So you take the whole chicken at once, and then what you'll do is you'll push down, like so, and you should be able to, on the other side, you should be able to see the joint. So if you hear cracking, you're doing good. Sometimes they come already like kind of apart. All right, then what we'll do is to cut the leg off, all we'll do is we'll take the knife, as so. You see this big pocket of fat that, or skin there. There's nothing there, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what we do is we'll start cutting along this skin, going down to make sure, as you guys can see, we'll stay right along next to the leg. And then once we get right up against the breast, all I do is I'll take, if you guys want to see really quickly, I'll take my knife, keep it along the breast like so. You cut along, and then you want to find wherever that joint was, and you want to cut basically right underneath the joint, like so. And then once you get through, you just will continue cutting through, and then you just cut off whatever is just hanging on, like so. Sometimes you might accidentally cut the femur bone. It's fine, we'll cut it off at the end. We'll get back to cleaning in a little bit, okay? We'll move on to the wings now. So the wings are kind of the same way, but they're a lot more fragile because obviously the bone's a lot smaller. So it is pretty easy to break the wings. But it's the same concept of you have it on its stomach with your back facing up. You grab the whole wing as it is. And I will say these ones are a lot harder to take off because you have so much cartilage and tendons right there at the joint, at the muscle. So sometimes you won't hear it snap or anything. It just doesn't come off. What I do is I'll usually take my full thumb and I'll really push into it. Sometimes, like I said, it won't come apart. But just if you hear feel a little jolt of movement, and you kind of can see a little bone pushing up against it, then you'll be good. You won't be able to get the bone out. Like you won't, like how we did with the thighs where you can see the bone, you won't get to that part. Just because, like I said, there's so much cartilage and tendons right there, it's pretty hard to break. Yeah. Usually what I do a little bit too is kind of twist just a little bit, not too hard.
Twist
either way.
Direction? Oh, okay.
Because you don't want to, like I said, you don't want to break the bone. Like I said, it's pretty hard.
So if you know you broke it, how far should it go back?
If you can, straight up. I mean, they'll both go straight up is the issue, but it's kind of hard to say. Sometimes you can cut around it also.
Oh, my thumb just went in between.
I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes, like, if you're really strong enough, you can rip the bone out. Don't always go for that because you do run the risk of breaking this. So, like I said, all we should do right now is we'll have one wing, at least for right now. All we'll do is kind of the same exact thing we did for the legs. We'll take your knife and just gently, all I do is I do a circle cut around it. Because all I'm doing is I'm cutting the meat around it and exposing the bone. You see how as soon as I cut it, the bone instantly came out? Like it exposed itself? Mm-hmm. That's what you're looking for. And then as soon as the bone comes out, you literally just cut right underneath the bone. And that's it. And then from here, all we have left is the breast. So wait, make sure everybody's caught up.
Oh my god.
Just waiting on you.
fully mutilated it.
It's fine.
Do you know what this thing is right here?
I'm assuming we're
What?
moving from this.
That's called the neck.
Look at this. Look at that.
Wait, where's the neck of the chicken?
They cut it off.
No, like, isn't it like in the
No,
chicken?
this white thing, look.
Yeah, that's the cartilage of your neck. So it would be right along here, right at the top.
Where?
If you feel at the very top of the chicken, you feel this little weird bone.
Is that the top?
No, that's the bottom. If it's a big hole, that's called the bottom.
And
At the very top, you'll feel some bones.
Oh
Ew.
my god.
That's the spine.
Look,
This?
the spine.
Yep, that's the spine right there.
Oh.
That's the legitimate spine of the chicken.
Oh my god, I'm touching the spine.
All right, so has everybody got the wings off?
Dead chicken.
All right. No, we're still waiting on one.
Wait, I have a question. I
Yep.
have this like little bit of like skin that didn't quite come
That's
out. You want me
fine.
to cut it off?
No, just leave it as is because does that look like it's connected to the breast?
Not really.
I can-
Then it doesn't matter.
The meat chicken.
Don't worry, chickens will be good uses.
So we're
Make it
ripping
look
this
better.
section.
One second, I'll just do it. So,
Where do we go? Okay.
Wait, do we take the fat off?
That's not fat. That's skin.
Skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for one to catch up, basically all to do to take the skin off is you literally just tear it off. Like I'm just go to town on it.
What?
It should be clean afterwards. If there's this little weird stuff,
Wait, we're taking the skin off?
yep, just cut it off.
Westbrook, are you doing this?
It's juicing on me. Westbrook should be doing this with us.
No.
She said,
If you can't get all of it off, that's fine because it really won't be connected to the breast anyways. So you should have 2 clean breasts that you can be able to see with no skin. So this one's a little bit more complicated just because we're dealing right with the rib cage, and we don't want to be eating the rib cage, obviously. So right down the middle, I'm pretty sure all of you felt it by now, is the rib cage spine. So right here, if you think about it, all you'll do is you take your knife, either side, doesn't matter. So if you're doing the right side, you go find the bone right there, you move a little bit to the right, you will cut straight down, and then once it feels really hard, you're at the rib cage, and then all you do is you cut parallel with the rib cage. So if you hit the rib cage, just rotate a little bit and keep going down, like so.
You never seen this.
And as you go down, you should be able to just cleanly have this off. And if you guys are ever wondering where chicken tenders come from, you'll see on the other side, there's like this weird little piece of hanging meat. That's actually called the chicken tender, where you get tenders from.
Which part?
If you flip it over on your breast, you'll see a little, yep, that right there. That is called the,
Should we take that part off?
no, you can leave it.
Wait, so
If it
is
falls
like-
off, that's fine.
Like this?
Yep, that's good.
Ooh.
And then if there's any bone or cartilage, like how I have some right here, all you do is you just cut it off.
That's cool.
What you do with the carcass is, once you're done with the carcass, what you can do, right, is, because the carcass still has all of this meat on here that you didn't cut off, and the bones that you lost. What you do is you can use, a lot of people use the carcass and the bones to make chicken stock, which is what stock is made out of, it's bones. So usually you'll just boil this in water for like a couple hours, and then you have chicken stock. And you can use that chicken stock for anything that you need chicken stock for. So that's why we're going to be saving some of the carcasses, because you guys are going to use it to make stock for chicken.
How or where should we store the carcasses?
There's a bin right there that says carcasses.
Sorry.
The big one.
I missed a little bit of the breast. You want me to cut it off or just leave it on?
Leave it on, it's fine.
We could get these later.
And then, yeah, take off any fat or anything that is not really desirable for eating.
Like this bone.
I like them.
Yep, that's fine.
And is this one good?
Yep, that's good.
Cool.
That's just because you didn't follow all the way along through. It's fine. Just on your next one, you got to practice doing it a little bit closer.
We were doing this, yeah.
Yep, and then you're done. Alright, and then with the wings, you just toss them or save them and you can cook them yourself. Whatever you want to do.
We can't make wings out of it? Just make wings out of it.
They're kind of hard. There's not really much on there.
There is over there.
And to separate it into actual wings that you eat for actual cooking, what you would be doing is we need to separate here,
Flat, right?
here, and also separate this. And it's very hard because you will almost always break a bone if
Yeah,
you
'cause-
don't know what you're
And
doing.
don't you
Mark?
eat just like this little part right here?
You eat both the top and the middle.
So you're trying to break
Right.
like each
Each
connective
individual-
tissue.
Basically, yeah. So what we're gonna do next is there's two parts. We have the chicken thighs and the legs. We're gonna be separating the thighs from the legs because this is 2 meals right here. Because you can have 1 meal, 2 meal, right? So this one's a little bit harder. So the leg naturally makes kind of like a V, right? So what we do is we have the V facing up. I will grab one with each arm or each hand, and you basically take the V and invert the V. You don't want to be too aggressive because you don't want to like crush the meat. You should just be able to feel the bone pop out, and you might be able to see a little bit poking.
Oh, it's out.
Yep, that's fine. You don't want to like actually pull it apart because then you're just crushing the meat.
Yeah. There we go.
It's a little complicated. All you do is wherever you see the joint, you'll cut right next to it. And you want to keep constantly exposing it. So just cut a little bit and then look for the joint. And then continue until you see the actual joint like how we did with the wings and legs.
Can we cut it on top of the feet?
Yep, you can cut on top of the V to make it simpler for yourself. But like I said, just cut a little. You're cutting too far. You're cutting the bone. I can see. So just cut a little bit at a time until you can see the joint like I last time. And then once you are able to actually get in between the joint, you just cut it straight through.
There.
And that's it.
Can I get some help over here?
Yep. And then hopefully, if you guys didn't decimate it, you should have a piece that has the skin on fully that looks nice, and the full drum leg that has all the skin on that looks nice.